All right, everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video, and let's go ahead and dive into, especially first, the SPY and the QQQ. So on the SPY, of course, we did have a weekly squeeze that fired. That's when we get the best uptrends, and that is when you aggressively buy the dip. Once the weekly squeeze loses momentum, we are in chop zone, and that is when you stop aggressively buying the dip because you'll get murdered. And there's hardly any gas. The moves are not, they just don't last. I mean, you got to have gas in the tank, right, to get those moves going. And same thing with the Qs. We had this amazing rally, and we've lost momentum. And look, after a weekly squeeze is done, it's going to be like this for like 3 months. Yeah, there'll be some good moves once in a while, but for the most part, buying out of the money calls is like the best way on planet Earth right now to lose money. Instead, though, you can certainly sell them. All right, so I talked about in this market how we're not really trending, so it doesn't really make sense to chase or hope that there's going to be some big move to the upside and buy out of the money calls and then just die, 1,000 painful deaths. So what we've been really liking in this is just what we call, it's quant pivots. And these are essentially levels where we're likely to see reversals. Remember, we've got a market that's just kind of going like this, right? And so if you chase and buy the breakout, you die. And if you chase and short the lows, you die. So the question is where do these things happen? And what we've done is just kind of create these levels. And this is based on some AI and some algo trading programs, but this is it kind of gives you a sandbox for 2 hours at a time. And basically, if you get towards the bottom of the sandbox, that's where you want to buy. You don't want to buy at the top of the sandbox, because if you get to the top of the sandbox, like here's the 2 hours right here, right? And when it got to the top of the sandbox, it got sold. And a lot of times people get excited, and that's where they're buying. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're dialed in on here. And if we look at the SPX, kind of the same idea here. And these big levels here, and again, you got two sandboxes. So this is the sandbox for the entire day. And the sandbox for the entire day just gives you levels like there's, only an 8% chance that we could close below this. And so once you start hanging around here and even pushing below it, the odds are very high that you'll at least hold it, okay? Or sometimes you just kind of get a rip. So this is where instead of shorting the market, you're selling put credit spreads, right? And then just as in yesterday, we was a pain. Here, we can show these for yesterday as well. So I like to kind of come in here and just say, all right, so for the daily, I want to come over here and say, you know what, I want to see all periods. Show me what happened yesterday too, and then I can come over here and see. And it was very similar because it didn't move very much, right? And yesterday, I was selling call credit spreads up here because, again, you get excited, right? You get excited in this market, like, oh my God, we're going, I'm going to go buy some calls. But the sandbox is telling me, like, no, we ain't getting through this level. And so I started selling call credit spreads here. And you would think, like, oh, and I'm like, oh, right, easy money, here we go. But this is like 3.5 hours. Okay, and typically these trades, you're in them for like 30 or 40 minutes. And so for 3 hours, it's just like this painful, oh my gosh, this what's going to happen here, and is it going to go? And then finally it fell. And I mean, I'm kind of joking, 3 hours is not, it's not like a super long time. But, these are the kind of things where it's, we're not playing momentum. We're not playing this kind of crazy action in the momentum world. And so I found is like even like today, it's like, hey, okay, we got a short on the S&Ps. That was great. We did some trades on the SPX, selling spreads. Great. I mean, it was a little over 100K on the day. And then Tesla, I lost $800. So trying to do a directional trade on Tesla just kind of like farted out. But, selling spreads on the SPX and doing larger size, I mean, that's just been kind of bread and butter. And so that's the kind of stuff when I'm talking about like, these levels, these sandboxes, where you can kind of go in and kind of do the opposite of what you think you should be doing. Because sometimes it's like, we get all excited about the moves and stuff like that. And so I just think that's, it's just important to be aware of that. All right, so for those of you that are interested in quant pivots, quick hits, and I know a lot of you may already have these tools. And then if you don't have them, that's also a whole other thing altogether. But if you already have them, on Wednesday, the 20th, so that's coming up today's Tuesday the 19th at 7 o'clock Central. I'm doing some training on how I'm using these today, what settings I'm using on the futures, what settings I'm using on cash, how I'm using them combined. And so if you have them, this will get you up to speed on how I'm using them now. If you don't have them, I mean, dear God, how are you trading this market? This will just kind of show you how things are lining up. So if you're interested in coming to this, again, free training, first name, last name, email address. If you want to get text reminders, that's up to you. And so that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that I'm going to be doing a class on Saturday the 23rd. And if you are interested in that, I mean, I'll talk about it during this, but if you're like, okay, I'm in, I want the tools, I want to do the class, or I already have the tools, but I want to understand how exactly you're using these combined today, what do I do? In that case, well, so here, this is, and you'll see a link in the email, but so for the webinar, you go to simplertrading.com/FOMO, and then for, if you want to sign up for the class, so for the class, you're going to go to this URL. It's a little bit longer, but you'll go to, and I'm sure there's a link for this somewhere too, simplertrading.com/sandbox-strategy. And I can show you this real quick. So if you're a member and you already have the tools, just if you're logged into the site, this is the page that you will come to. And if you just want to do the 4-hour strategy class with me on how I'm combining quick hits and quant pivots and exactly the chart setups I'm using, and it includes 2 live trading days. It's just $5.97. You just want to be sure that you get signed up before the class on Saturday. After Saturday, the price goes up. The Summit package also, of course, it includes that. And then also there's a presentation on portfolio margin. Henry's got one on unbalanced butterflies. And it actually includes a ticket to our Orlando Summit that we're going to be doing on October 28th. Okay, and that's live, and that'll be, we haven't done one in Orlando, so if you're in that area, that makes sense. And then the Summit VIP package is all that, but as a VIP, there's a poker tournament that we have that's amazing. Cocktail, you get, sit in the front of the room, all that kind of fun stuff, and basically it's just a lot more FaceTime. And which is great, and it'll be a lot of fun. So again, this is if you already have the quick hits and the quant pivots and you'd like to participate. If you don't have them, you'll see these same deals, but then there's additional cost because it would include the tools as well, and you'd see that when you'd sign in there. All right, and so again, that's simplertrading.com/sandbox strategy. This has been really great for this market. It's a relaxing way to trade. It's been very low stress. And I think you'll like it quite a bit. All right, you guys have a good one, and see you at the next one.
Hey, John here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, comment down below and let us know what topic you want to see us cover next. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you can get notified when we release new videos. And if you want to watch us trade in real time using our own money, go to simplertrading.com and learn how to sign up. Good trading, and we'll see you next time.